Hello students, I welcome you all to my third video on the chapter solutions, right? In the previous video we discussed something about methods of expressing concentration of solutions, right? Okay na? And also we solved some problems on methods of expressing concentration of solution. Now we'll continue that part, solving problems on methods of expressing concentration of solutions. Here we have fourth problem. In the last video we solved three problems, right? Now we'll go for the fourth problem now, right? Look at the fourth problem. Calculate mass percentage of benzene and CCl4, that is mass percentage of benzene and carbon tetrachloride if 22 grams of benzene is dissolved in 122 grams of CCl4 anta ide. You need to calculate mass percentage, right? Write the formula. Mass percentage of yado, yes it is benzene, yes it is C6H6 anta tagolli. Mass percentage of benzene, that's equal to what? Mass of benzene, formula ಹೇಳುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ. Mass of benzene divided by total mass of solution, right? Total mass of solution into 100. This is the formula, right? And as far as mass of benzene is concerned, that is what I can say, that W, mass of benzene is how much it is? That is 22 grams. That is 22 grams. And the mass of solution, that is at the same time mass of CCl4, that is carbon tetrachloride, is how much? That is 122 grams. ಹೌದಾ? Okay na? Mass of CCl4 ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 122 grams ಇದೆ. Therefore total mass of solution ಏನು? WB plus WC, mass of benzene and mass of CCl4, that is 22 plus 122, that comes out to be 144 grams. So this is the mass of the solution, right? Substitute all these values, that is 22 divided by, yes it is 144, yes it is into 100, yes, that comes out to be 15.27%, right? That comes out to be 15.27%. That is mass percentage of benzene, right? Mass percentage of benzene. Therefore, the percentage of mass percent of CCl4 ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. That's equal to 100 minus 15.27. ಹೌದಾ? ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ? Sum of the mass percent of all the components is always equal to 100. That is mass percent of benzene, mass percent of CCl4 is equal to 100. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 100 minus 15.27 ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? That is 84.7, yes it is 3. 84.73, that is what we call it as mass percent of, yes it is CCl4. So this is what we call it as the calculation of mass percent of CCl4 and benzene. Okay na? Note ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, screenshot ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, right? We'll go to the next problem, right? Yes, take it on. Look at the fifth problem. Calculate the mole fraction of benzene in solution containing 30% by mass of it in CCl4, right? That's it, 30% by mass of it in CCl4. That is what we call it as the fifth problem, right? You are supposed to calculate mole fraction of benzene, right, in the solution containing 30% by mass of benzene in CCl4. Benzene is a solute, CCl4 is a solvent. Yes. Suppose you write mole fraction of benzene equals XB. Number of moles of benzene divided by total number of moles. Yes, it is NB plus NC. Number of moles of benzene, number of moles of CCl4, right? N2 divided by N1 plus N2, right? That is mole fraction. What is that NB? That is mass of benzene divided by molecular mass of benzene, right? Mass of benzene divided by molecular mass of benzene. Mass of benzene, how much it is? 30 grams. 30% ಅಂತ without ratale. 30 grams benzene idre 70 grams ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? CCl4 ಇರ್ತದೆ, right? And of course, what is the molecular mass of benzene? That comes out to be 78, because molecular mass of benzene, that is C6H6, that comes out to be 12 into 6. Atomic mass of carbon is 12 into 6 plus 1 into 6, that comes out to be 78 gram per mole. This is what we call it as molar mass of, yes it is that is benzene, and it comes out to be around, yes, that is 30 by 78. It comes out to be 0.384, right? This is number of moles of benzene. What is number of moles of CCl4? Mass of CCl4 divided by molecular mass of CCl4. Mass of CCl4 is 70 because 30% percentage ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬೆಂಜಿನ್ 30% ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ CCl4 ಎಷ್ಟಿರ್ತದೆ 70 ಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇರಲೇಬೇಕು. And of course, what is the molecular mass of CCl4 ಅಂದ್ರೆ that is 12 plus 35.5 into 4. ನೋಡಿ 12 plus 35.5 into 4. ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ 12, ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ 35.5 4 ಇದೆ ಹೌದಾ. 4 into 35.5 ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ 142. 142 plus 12 ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ 154. that is 35 into 30 35.5 into 2 ಎಷ್ಟು 71 ಡಬಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ 142 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 142 plus 12 ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ 154 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. yes, and therefore it is 154. what is the number of moles there? 70 divided by 154, it comes out to be 0.4545. 0.4545, that is what we call it as the number of moles of, yes, it is CCl4. Now substitute here. Mole fraction of, yes, it is benzene is equal to number of moles of benzene divided by total number of moles. That comes out to be number of moles of benzene is, yes, it is 0.384 divided by 0.384 plus 0.4545. that is, yes, it is mole fraction, right? 0.384 plus 0.4545, 0.8385 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. that is 0.384 divided by 0.8385, and then it comes out to be, right, 0.384 divided by 0.8385, it comes out to be 0.457. yes, it is 9 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. this is what we call mole fraction of benzene. what is mole fraction of CCl4? that is 1 minus mole fraction of benzene. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? sum of the mole fractions of all the components is always equal to 1. xc plus xb is equal to 1 ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 1 minus 0.4579, that comes out to be 0.5421. that is 0.5421, and that is what we call it as yes, it is mole fraction. So this is mole fraction of CCl4. this is the next problem. And screenshot tagoli, right? yes. Look at the problem number 6. Calculate the mass of urea required in making 2.5 kg of 0.5 molar aqueous solution. Solution is aqueous. Solution is prepared by mixing urea and water. yes. okay, now therefore here it's clear that is mass of solution ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ 2.5 kg, that's equal to 2500 grams. that is mass of solution is equal to mass of solvent plus mass of solute, that's equal to 2500 grams. ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ? mass of solvent is 1 for solvent, 2 for solute. ನಾನು ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ. therefore mass of solvent 1 is equal to 2500 minus W2 grams. this is mass of solvent. Why I calculated mass of solvent? Because in the molality formula, molality, ಹೌದಾ, number of moles of solute divided by mass of solvent in kg, ಇದು ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ. ಮಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಾಲ್ವೆಂಟ್ ಬೇಕು ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ, ಹೌದಾ. ಈಗ ನನಗೆ ಮೊಲಾಲಿಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ 0.5 ಮೋಲಾರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೋಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಟ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಟ್? ಯೂರಿಯಾ NH2CONH2. this is the formula of urea, right? what is the molecular mass here? yes, nitrogen ಏನಿದೆ 28. yes, ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ 4 ಇದೆ 4. yes, ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ 1 ಇದೆ 12, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ 1 ಇದೆ 16. yes. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ 22 plus 12 ಎಷ್ಟು 40. yes, it is 16 plus 4 20. therefore it is 60 gram per mole. this is what we call it as molar mass. Mass of solute W2, that is to be calculated, and of course molar mass is, yes, it is 60 there. ಮೊಲಾಲಿಟಿ ಅವರೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮೊಲಾಲಿಟಿ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು 0.25 ಮೊಲಾಲ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಅವರೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೆನ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ W2 by 60 whole divided by mass of solvent, that is 2500 minus W2 into 10 to the power of minus 3. ಇದು ಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕೆಜಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು 0.25. ಎಸ್, therefore W2 is equal to, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ, 0.25 into 60, ಓಕೆನಾ, into 10 to the power of minus 3, right, into 2500 minus W2, right? ಹೌದಾ? So that is, simplify ಮಾಡಿ, that comes out to be, right, 0.25 into 60, ಓಕೆನಾ, divided by 1000. Yes, that comes out to be, right, 0.25 into 60, yes, divided by 1000, it comes out to be 0.015 2500 minus W2, right? This is also W2, ಅದು ನೆನಪಿರಲಿ, right? ಈಗ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ into 2500, yes, that is equal to 37.5 minus 0.015 into W2, right? ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಈಗ W2 ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ತಗೊಂಬನ್ನಿ, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 1 ಪ್ಲಸ್ 0.015 into W2, ಇದು ಈ ಕಡೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ 1 ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, 1 W2 ಕಾಮನ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ 1 ಪ್ಲಸ್ 0.015 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು 37.5. ಎಸ್, ಓಕೆನಾ, therefore W2 equals, right, 37.5 divided by 1.015. ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು, ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ, divided by 1.015, that is 36.94 grams. So that is what we call it as mass absolute. 36.94, that is mass absolute W2 required to prepare 2.5 kg of 0.25 molal urea solution. Yes, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ, right? We'll take up a seventh problem. Calculate the molality, mole fraction of KI solution if the density of 20% by mass of the aqueous solution of KI is 1.205 gram per ml. That is the given information. Molarity first, right? Molarity equals number of moles of solute divided by volume in liter. Yes. Number of moles of solute divided by volume in liter. Yes. Here N2 is equal to W2 by M2. W2 is to 20 grams. ಅದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ 20% ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Mass of K is to 20 grams. What is the molecular mass of KI? That is potassium 39, iodine 127. ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ? Yes, it is 166 gram per mole. Yes. Now it is 166 and number of moles of KI is ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ? That is 20 divided by 166. It comes out to be 0.1204. This is number of moles of KI. And I need volume. Yes, I need volume of KI solution. Volume of KI solution is not given there. Volume of solution is not given there. Yes, volume of KI solution is not given there. ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ I want to calculate the volume by using density, that is mass per volume. Therefore, volume is equal to what? Mass per density. Mass per density, ಹೌದಾ? Therefore, volume equals, yes it is, as far as the mass of the KI solution is 100. Mass of the KI solution is 100. Yes, mass of the KI solution is 100 and divided by density ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 1.205 grams. It comes out to, how can I say that mass of KI solution is 100 ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾಕೆ? Because percentage ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 20% KI solution ಅಂದ್ರೆ 20 grams KI ಇರುತ್ತೆ, 80 grams water ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Total mass ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು? 100 ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Yes, therefore 100 divided by 1.205, it comes out to be, yes it is 82.98, yes it is ml, that is 82.98 ml it is, right? But I want volume in liters, that's equal to, volume is equal to 82.98 into 10 to the power of minus 3 liters. Minus 3 liters. Substitute ಮಾಡಿ, that is number of moles 0.1204 ಇದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಇನ್ ಲೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ 82.98 ಇದೆ. ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ ಈಗ? It comes out to be yes into 10 to the power of minus 3 into 10 to the power of minus 3, that comes out to be right 0.1204 into 1000, yes, divided by 82.98 comes out to be 1.450 molar. This is molarity. Yes. Is that molarity? You calculated. Yes. You calculated molarity. ಹೌದಾ? ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡು. Molality equals number of moles of solute divided by mass of solvent in kg. Mass of solvent in kg, right? Therefore, molality equals number of moles ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲೇ 0.1204. Mass of solvent ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 20% by mass of yes it is Ki ಇದ್ರೆ mass of water ಎಷ್ಟಿರ್ತದೆ? 80 grams ಇರ್ತದೆ, right? That is 80 into 10 to the power minus 3, right? 80 into 10 to the power minus 3, right? And of course, do it now. Simplify ಮಾಡಿ. That is 0.1204 into 1000 divided by, yes it is 80 there. It is 1.505. Small m ಬರಿಬೇಕು. Molal. Capital M is for molar. This is molality. Yes. ಹೌದಾ? Mole fraction of yes it is Ki solution, that is Ki. Mole fraction of Ki is equal to number of moles of Ki divided by total number of moles, right? ಹೌದಾ? What is the number of moles of Ki? Already you know. Yes, the number of moles of Ki. Yes. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 0.1204 divided by 0.1204 plus number of moles of that is N1, that is number of moles of water equals ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Number of moles of water equals mass of water divided by molecular mass 18, that is yes it is 80 divided by 18, it comes out to be mass of water 80 ತಾನೆ, because 20% by Ki ಇದ್ರೆ 20% Ki ಇದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನು 80 ಎಷ್ಟಿರ್ತದೆ? ವಾಟರ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. So 80 divided by 18 molecular mass of water, that is 4.444. Yes, it comes out to be 4.444. Yes, ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ? That is plus. Yes, it is 0.1204 divided by 4.564. Therefore, 0.1204 divided by 4.564. It comes out to be, yes it is mole fraction of Ki equals, yes it is 0.02638. This is mole fraction of Ki. So these are the things you are supposed to calculate in this particular problem, right? Okay, that's all about the problems on these particular methods of expressing concentration of solution. I solved the problems from NCERT book, some problems on the solve type and some problems on the in-text solution. In-text questions ಇಂದ ಕೆಲವು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಬರೆದಿದ್ರೆ you just text me. You can send the message to me so that I can solve the problems also. Okay na? So that is what we call it as numericals on methods of expressing concentration of solution. So with that we'll go to the next topic. ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ? Yes. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ತಾನೆ? Right. So with that we'll take up next topic, that is effect of temperature on the concentration of the solutions. So I know we discussed different methods of expressing concentration of solutions. So Among the methods available, there are some methods which will be affected by the temperature. At the same time, there are some methods which will not be affected by the temperature. Let me list out the methods which will be depending on the temperature first, right? We have a methods like molarity. Yes, it is. Then it is percentage by volume. Percentage by volume. That is mass by volume percentage. Mass by volume percentage, and of course normality. Normality, and of course not included in your syllabus, but still these are the four methods of expressing concentration of solutions like molarity, percentage by volume, mass volume percentage, and normality. All these methods are depending on temperature. That is, the constant molarity varies with the temperature. Percentage by volume varies with the temperature. All these methods of expressing concentration will be varying with the temperature, right? Because these methods of expressing concentration depend on the volume of the solution, right? Why they vary with the temperature? Because all these methods of expressing concentration, they depend on volume of solution. Volume of solution changes with the temperature. Therefore, volume of solution changes with the temperature. Therefore, the methods of expressing concentration also change with the temperature. So that is what we call it as effect of temperature on methods of expressing concentration of solutions. And because of that, in chemistry, we come across one method of expressing concentration, that is what we call it as Duhamel. This is one method of expressing concentration of solutions, that is Duhamel. Nothing but molarity. Duhamel is nothing but molarity, but at 0 degrees Celsius. Molarity of any solution at 0 degrees Celsius is called as Duhamel. That's why, if I say we have 0.25 Duhamel D and further, this is the concentration of solution is 0.25 molar. Concentration of solution is 0.25 molar at 0 degrees Celsius, and that is what we call it as Duhamel. One of the methods of expressing concentration of solutions at 0 degrees Celsius. Molarity of a solution at as it is 0 degrees Celsius is called as Duhamel, and that is what we call it as the methods of expressing concentration of solutions. Apart from, we have a certain methods of expressing concentrations like molality. Yes, it is percentage by mass. Percentage by mass. Then mole fraction. Mole fraction. Then it is mass fraction. Mass fraction. Then it is ppm. These are all the methods of expressing concentration. They do not depend on the volume of the solution. They do not depend on the volume of the solution. They depend on the mass and the number of particles present in a solution. Because of that, these methods of expressing concentration of solutions, they are independent of temperature. Molality, percentage by mass, mole fraction, mass fraction, and ppm, they are independent of temperature of a solution. Even though temperature changes, molality doesn't change, percentage by mass doesn't change, but if temperature changes, molarity of solution changes, percentage by volume changes, mass by volume percentage changes, and that is what we call it as effect of temperature on the, yes, it is different methods of expressing concentration of solutions. So with that information, we'll take up so that's solubility, a quite a common term as far as the solution is concerned. Remember, imagine a solute when it is dissolved in solvent, yes, then you are going to get solution, right? You are going to get solution. You are going to get solution, right? When solute is added to solvent, you are going to get a solution. That is called as, yes, it is what we say that generally solute dissolves in solvent and you are going to get solution, and this process is called as dissolution. This process is called as dissolution. Okay, na? And as far as the term solubility is concerned, it is the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in a given amount of solvent at given temperature and pressure. That is called as solubility. The maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in a given amount of solvent. at, yes, it is given temperature and pressure, and that is called as solubility. Just observe, I'm just using the term given amount of solvent at given temperature and pressure. Means the solubility of a solute in a solvent depends on the amount of solvent, temperature and pressure. Because of that, I am defining that particular solubility as the amount of solute dissolved in given amount of solvent at given temperature and pressure. That is called as solubility. Maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in given amount of solvent at given temperature and pressure is called as solubility, right? In order to illustrate this particular concept, solubility, I'll go for one simplest, example, that is simple demonstration. That is, imagine 100 ml of water, yes? 100 ml of water at 25 degrees Celsius, right? This 100 ml of water that is taken in a beaker at 25 degrees Celsius. Let me add sugar to it. Let me add sugar to it, yes? So for example, let me add around 5 grams of sugar, right? 5 grams of sugar. I am going to add 5 grams of sugar. Sugar added to water and it disappears. Means sugar dissolves in solvent and you are going to get sugar solution. The process is called as dissolution. You just continue that adding sugar there. You just add 10 grams now. You just continue that adding sugar to the water then. Okay, now? Sugar goes on dissolving, yes? Sugar goes on dissolving in water because the molecules of water interact with particles of sugar and thereby dissolution takes place. If you continue that addition of sugar to the water, after a certain point, added sugar particles remain undissolved. After a certain point, what we call it as? After a certain point, added sugar particles remain undissolved. That means, say for example, after adding 35 grams of sugar, up to 35 grams, the added sugar goes on dissolving in water, yes? And I am not changing volume of water as 100 ml there. Temperature is 25 degrees Celsius there. After the addition of 35 grams of sugar, I just continue that adding sugar. Added sugar, yes, it is remains undissolved and it started precipitating. Added sugar particles will be started to settle down at the bottom of the, yes, it is beaker. That is, precipitation of sugar particles starts after adding, yes, it is 35 grams of sugar. It means what? The 35 grams, maximum of 35 grams of sugar can be dissolved in 100 ml of water at 25 degrees Celsius. Therefore, the solubility of sugar in this particular example is 35 grams per 100 ml. Solubility of sugar in this particular demonstration is 35 grams per 100 ml at 25 degrees Celsius. If the temperature is changed, solubility will also change. If the volume of water changes, solubility also changes. Is it not? That's why solubility refers to the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in given amount of solvent at given temperature and pressure. That is called as solubility. And up to 35 grams of sugar, that process of dissolution continues. Process of dissolution continues, right? And after 35 grams, if I add sugar to the water, the particles of sugar in the solution undergo collision. The particles of sugar in the solution undergo collision. Once collision of the sugar particles starts, particle size grows. And then once the particle size grows, that settling of sugar particles starts. And the process will be reversed, and that process is called as crystallization. That crystallization refers to the, precipitation of sugar particles after saturation point, and that is what we call it as the backward process is crystallization. That means in the forward process, solute particles dissolved in solvent and you are going to get solution. After saturation point, the sugar particles, the process is reversed, means solute particles will be separated from solution. After saturation point, solute particles will be separated from solution. That means backward process starts. And of course, as far as the solution is concerned, there is one particular stage in solution wherein the rate of dissolution is equal to rate of crystallization, and that particular point is called as saturation point. and that is that particular stage is called as saturation point. At saturation point, okay na, the rate of dissolution, that is dissolution of solute in solvent, the speed of dissolution, the rate of dissolution is equal to the rate of crystallization, and that is called as saturation point. After saturation point, rate of crystallization dominates. Rate of crystallization dominates, and that means precipitation of solute particles starts. Before saturation point, rate of dissolution dominates. Rate of dissolution dominates. That means dissolution of solute starts. Okay na? And of course, at saturation point, rate of dissolution is equal to the rate of crystallization, and there is an equilibrium between dissolution and crystallization. At that particular equilibrium, that is, we can dissolve maximum amount of solute in a given amount of solvent in order to prepare, yes, it is saturated solution of that particular solute. In order to prepare saturated solution of that particular solute. That means when rate of dissolution is equal to rate of crystallization, at that particular stage, you prepared saturated solution of the solute. Saturated solution of the solute. Okay na? And therefore, as far as solubility of a solute is concerned, the solubility of a solute refers to the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in given amount of solvent at given temperature and pressure in order to prepare its saturated solution, and that is called as solubility of a solute. That is called as solubility of a solute. And of course, under solubility, as per your NCERT textbook, we are supposed to study solubility of solid in liquid, solubility of gas in liquid, solubility of liquid in liquid. These are the three discussions that we need to study as far as solubility is concerned. Now at this moment, I am going to take up, yes, it is solubility of solid in liquid and the factors affecting on the solubility of solid in liquid. Yes. And with respect to this particular discussion, three factors, like one, it is nature of solute and solvent. This is one factor that is affecting on the solubility of solute, solid in liquid. Second factor is, yes, it is temperature. Third factor to be discussed is pressure. These are the, yes, it is three important factors to be discussed under the solubility of solid in liquid. And as far as the nature of the solute is concerned, varieties of solutes we come across, like polar and non-polar solutes we have, is it not? Polar and non-polar solutes. Under polar, you come across ionic solids. Under non-polars, you come across covalent solids, right? Okay, na? And usually, polar solute particles will be soluble in polar solvents. Polar solute particles will be soluble in polar solvents. Non-polar solute particles will be soluble in non-polar solvents. Non-polar solvents. So that is what we say generally, like dissolves in like. Okay, na? Polar solute particles will be soluble in polar solvents. Non-polar solute particles will be soluble in non-polar solvents. For example, we have NaCl, we have KCl, we have KNO3. These are all polar solute particles. These are all polar solute particles, that is ionic solids. They are characterized by ions. Therefore, they are soluble in polar solvents like water. They are soluble in polar solvents like water. And this, non-polar solute particles only. I'll go for one example, that is sulfur is one of the non-polar solute, phosphorus, sulfur. And this sulfur dissolves in non-polar solvent like carbon disulfide, non-polar solvent like carbon tetrachloride. That means non-polar solute particles will be soluble in non-polar solvents, polar solute particles will be soluble in polar solvents. And reasons, all those things, you studied in chemical bonding chapter of first PUC. I don't go to the details of it. Yes. So this is one factor, that is polar solute particles will be soluble in polar solvents, non-polar solute particles will be soluble in non-polar solvents, and thereby what we can say that is the like dissolves in, yes, it is like. And remember, solubility of a solid in liquid takes place only when there is an interaction between solute particles and solvent particles. If the kind of interactions are same in both the cases, naturally the solids will be soluble in, yes, it is solvent. So this is what we call it as solubility of solid in liquid, and one factor is nature of solute and nature of solvent. Now at this moment, we'll go for the second factor, that is the effect of temperature on the solubility of solid in liquid. Exactly. Temperature affects on the solubility. Yes. The effect of temperature. Second factor there, that is what happens to the solubility of solid in liquid upon changing temperature. Yes. That is the effect of temperature on, yes, it is solubility. Okay, na? And when the temperature of a solution increases, solubility of a solid in liquid may increase or decrease. Sudden decision ತಗೋಬೇಡಿ. When temperature increases, solubility increases ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಡಿ. When temperature of a solution increases, solubility of a solute may increase or may decrease. It may increase or decrease. That depends on enthalpy of solution. Whether the dissolution is endothermic or exothermic. Depending upon that, that solubility of solid in liquid varies. For example, you already know there is an equilibrium, that is when solute dissolves in solvent, there is an equilibrium, that is between solution and solute particles. Forward process is dissolution, backward process is crystallization, right? In the forward process, solubility is favored, dissolution takes place. In the backward process, crystallization takes place, that I already said. If the process of dissolution is endothermic, the forward process I am taking, if the process of dissolution is endothermic, that means if heat is absorbed, then as the temperature of a solution increases, solubility of solute increases according to Le-Chatelier's principle. In the case of endothermic reversible processes, when the temperature is increased, equilibrium is shifted in forward direction. That is Le-Chatelier's principle. Therefore, if the dissolution of a solute in liquid is endothermic, then as the temperature increases, solubility increases. Similarly, if the dissolution of a solute in solvent is exothermic process, if heat is liberated, in the case of exothermic reversible processes, according to Le-Chatelier's principle, when the temperature is raised, equilibrium is shifted in backward direction. You studied in first PUC. And because of that, if the dissolution process is exothermic, then solubility of a solid in liquid decreases with increase in temperature. Athwa, the dissolution of a solid in liquid decreases with increase in temperature, and that is what we call it as in the case of exothermic reversible processes, and that is what we call it as effect of temperature. For example, in the case of yes, it is NaCl, KCl, NH4Cl, yes it is KNO3. These are all the examples for the solutes. During the dissolution of these solutes, the process of dissolution of these solids will be endothermic. Therefore, in these cases, as the temperature increases, right, solubility also increases. As the temperature increases, solubility also increases. Whereas in the case of yes, it is the solids like dissolution of cerium sulfate, dissolution of lithium sulfate, okay, now dissolution of sodium carbonate monohydrate. These are all the some examples for the solids. Okay, now during the dissolution of these salts, these solids in water, the process will be exothermic. Yes. Therefore, when the temperature increases, in these cases, as the temperature increases, solubility decreases. These salts are in the case of cerium sulfate, lithium sulfate, sodium carbonate monohydrate, when the temperature of a solution increases, solubility decreases, because in these cases dissolution is exothermic. In the first case, dissolution is endothermic. Therefore, here as temperature increases, solubility increases. ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ? ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೆಲವು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಇದೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, there are some solids where solubility increases with increase in temperature in the beginning. There are some cases where solubility increases with increase in temperature in the beginning. After certain temperature, solubility decreases with increase in temperature. For the same solute. In the beginning, solubility increases with increase in temperature. After certain temperature, solubility decreases with increase in temperature. One example ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ. That is sodium sulfate decahydrate ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Sodium sulfate decahydrate. Yes. In this case, that solubility increases with increase in temperature up to 32.8 degrees Celsius. Up to 32.8 degrees Celsius. Okay, na? After 32.8 degrees Celsius, if you raise the temperature, solubility decreases. ಅರ್ಥ ತಿಳಿದ ನಿಮಗೆ? ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ after 32.8 degrees Celsius, sodium sulfate decahydrate is completely converted into sodium sulfate. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? In the case of sodium sulfate decahydrate, solubility increases with increase in temperature up to 32.8 degrees Celsius. After 32.8 degrees Celsius, the sodium sulfate decahydrate is converted to sodium sulfate. And after 32.8 degrees Celsius, if we increase the temperature, solubility decreases. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, here in the case of sodium sulfate decahydrate, yes it is, the dissolution is endothermic. The dissolution process is endothermic. In the case of sodium sulfate decahydrate. But in the case of sodium sulfate, anhydrous sodium sulfate, dissolution of anhydrous sodium sulfate is exothermic. Dissolution of anhydrous sodium sulfate is exothermic. ಇದರ ಡಿಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಎಂಡೋಥರ್ಮಿಕ್, ಇದರ ಡಿಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಎಕ್ಸೋಥರ್ಮಿಕ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ after 32.8 degrees Celsius, that one form of solid is converted to another form. Therefore, its solubility, its dissolution is endothermic. Therefore, as the temperature increases, solubility increases. But its dissolution is exothermic, and hence the solubility decreases with increase in temperature. And of course, these are the things that I wanted to share with you as far as, yes, it is solubility of solid in liquid is concerned. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. That in the solubility of gas in liquid ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ? Yes, thank you.